Welcome to Next Play. All right, guys, welcome back to Next Play. Super pumped to have former Iowa State legend George Niang and NBA veteran. George, thanks for coming on.
Oh, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. So I'm excited to get things off, give a little bit of my story, and have some fun.
Great. Absolutely. Well, I'll do every athlete's least favorite part is talk about all the great things for those that don't know enough about you. You are a consensus second team All-American 2016, two-time first team All Big 12, Iowa State all-time leading scorer. I just heard that got broken though. True? No?
Say all-time leading scorer?
I don't know. When you graduated. Is that wrong?
I think I'm top 3, but if you want to say all-time leading scorer.
I just said it. I said it. So that makes it real.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
You heard it here. Long-time NBA player across multiple playoff teams and one of the league's most reliable shooters. So an impressive resume at that.
Yeah.
Very much.
I'm gonna
jump in, Al. Yeah.
Right into it. I was doing my homework. I know a little bit, I think, about the Minivan nickname, but for the listeners who don't know, and I don't know if my mom does, tell us where that comes from.
Well, so I was in Utah, and this was early in my career, and you're just trying to find an identity, find a shtick, because sometimes that's kind of part of the game of how you find a role in the NBA, right? And mine was kind of being that loving, friendly team guy, reliable. And we were in Utah, and I think this was a time where, I wasn't in the rotation, so I wasn't playing consistently. So we were beating the Brooklyn Nets pretty bad, and I got in at the end of the game, and I had like a wide open lane to like go dunk it. And like, if I could describe how unathletic it looked, like it would give it too much credit. So I like hardly got the ball over the rim and like laid it in. And Joe Ingles, who's a very close friend of mine, was a great mentor for me in Utah, was like in the locker room, was like, yo, what was that? Like, all right, easy. Like, I'm not a Ferrari like you guys. I'm more like a minivan. I need a couple laps around the block before I get going. And then there was our sideline reporter was in there. She was like, the minivan, that fits you so perfect. Then they started making sweatshirts with my head out of a minivan, and I think fans didn't even know my real name. They just called me Minivan. And then the play-by-play announcer would be, every time I'd hit a 3, would be like, throw the triplets in the minivan. George Niang has another 3. So it was like a play on, and it kind of fits like my personality, right? Like reliable, gets things done. But at the end of the day, what's happening in the minivan? You're going to Disney World, you're going somewhere fun, and that kind of represents my personality of who I am. So I'm like, it's not the cutest, or can I say sexiest on this?
Yeah, you can say anything.
Yeah. But it's me, so it just gets it done.
That's awesome. Like you talked about, reliable, one of the NBA's best 3-point shooters. Pretty much shot 40% every season that you've been in the NBA from the 3-point line. How much do you think that you can attribute to like your mechanics versus like the mental side of being a great shooter? Because I think athletes struggle, going through slumps, and I don't know. Tell me what you think about that.
Yeah, I've almost tried to tell people like the best shooters are like the dumbest people ever. Like 'cause it's almost like you can't overthink it, but you can't, underanalyze, right? And it's like shooting is like a feeling. So
yeah,
when I talk about like mechanics, I've done it for so long that I know like where the ball needs to be, and where I can look up at the trajectory and know like that has a good chance of going in, or you just have done it so long. So the mechanics at the NBA level, are one thing, right? But I think mentality is a totally thing that separates like good shooters into like elite, right? So from that aspect, I think it's more or less, someone gave me the best advice. They were like, if you go 0 for 3 and you have a wide open 3 and you turn it down, like you look like you don't belong. So therefore, like, you just have to shoot the next shot. So every shot has a 1-shot life. So when I go out there, that's kind of how I live it. Like, I missed my first one. Okay, if this is the right play to shoot the next one, I'm going to do it, because more times than not, that's how I got here, playing the right way, doing the right thing. And I think, sorry to drag this answer on, but you almost want to have a false sense of confidence. Like, a false sense of confidence in professional sports almost has the people around you thinking that you're better than you are. You think you're better than you are. And it almost gives you like a comfort level where you can just be out there and be like, yeah, I am this badass out here. Like I can't be messed with. And that's almost how you need to go about your everyday life. I'm not saying being like too arrogant and over the top.
Yeah.
Just having this sense of confidence about yourself that, yeah, I missed, but I'm not going to miss again. And if you miss again, I'm not going to miss 2 more times. And mechanics are one thing. Like at a young age, I really think that stuff is extremely important. But I'm old now, and I've been playing basketball for a long time. So if I didn't have the mechanics part down, I probably wouldn't be on this podcast or talking about basketball. So I know I put enough work into that. Now it's just having the mentality that I'm going to be patiently relentless in my journey, where like I'm not going to let things sway me because of what happened in the right now. I'm going to continue to like look at it as like this is a long journey. I may miss 10 shots in a row, but that means out of 100, I'm going to make the next 60, you know, and that will equal out to a high percentage. So it's just mentality is so important, to say the least, to wrap up the question.
No, it's so true. Yeah. How have you seen, because you've, like I said, been playing a long time, how have you seen the mental side of the game change throughout your career? Because, you know, we are both coaches. I'm a psychotherapist, and we're inundated now with working with athletes at every level. So curious from your like perspective, how you've seen it change.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be too critical of, you know, athletes now, because I hated when older athletes were like, these young guys don't know how good they had it. Like training camp was 4 weeks long and we had 2-a-days, and I'd be like, all right, like whatever. But I think the biggest thing, and I always think, you know, whether if it's college or high school, like, you know, I always think that players should be able to make their own decisions.
Yeah.
You know, whether if that's the college level, being compensated to, you know, with NIL now and leaving schools to get more money, or in high school, going to a bunch of different high schools. But the way I've seen it change is I hate the fact that when there's a little adversity, we are giving our youth and guys abilities to just leave, transfer, go to another school with no punishment, because that's just not how life was. Like if I told anybody my journey, they'd be like, oh, like, and you stayed with it. Like my freshman year, in high school, I played, I don't know, 12 games, and we had 30 of them. Like I didn't get off the bench, but that was because I had guys that were going to UConn, going to Providence, going to Fort. Like I had 4 Division I players on my team, but quitting wasn't an option. Like I couldn't just say I'm going to a different high school because I didn't get my way. Where now I just feel like the mentality is, okay, this just isn't the right fit for me, so I'm going to go somewhere else. Where I don't think that's really the case, where there's sometimes you need to dig your hooves in and get comfortable being uncomfortable, and knowing that, listen, this is going to suck for 3 months, but once I get through it, it's going to mold me into a player that's going to make me appreciate every minute, every point, every rebound that I score, so that I'm not taking these moments for granted. Because I feel like at this point, we're allowing the youth or young kids to be like, you know what, today was a tough day, so, you know, this school isn't for me, or this journey isn't for me. And that's not life. Like life is, the most successful people are the people that can hang on the longest. The people that have the most grit are the people that are the most successful.
For sure.
How much can you hold on than the person next to you? Like I feel like the only reason why I'm in the NBA is because 70% of the people just didn't show up and quit, and allowed me to, all I did was just keep showing up, and, you know, the rest of it took care of itself.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of like the lack of, you know, mental toughness. And that's something that we really talk about on our podcast. And it sounds like you obviously have a lot of it. So tell me where that comes from, where you get your mental toughness from. Is that you've had that since a kid, or is it a skill that you've kind of developed across your career? Tell me about that.
Yeah. Oh, and as you know, sometimes moms are the toughest, and mine was was pretty tough. But more in like a loving way, right? Like my mom played sports in high school, but when it came down to sports, as I started getting better, and I'd be like, hey, don't you think that's messed up that the coach did this? She would immediately be like, no, don't talk to me about this. I'm not your coach. You need to talk to your coach. And she always would leave me with a line that was, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. And that's kind of how I've kind of lived my life, right? Like my journey through high school to then college to then in the NBA, it was never easy. But the fact that I continue to work and show up, like I'm a 10-year veteran, and let me tell you, it's really worth it. You know, the fact that you show up and work hard. And I think kind of my mom gave me a no excuse mentality, right? You know,
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
she just made it a point to be like, if you're going to do this, you're going to do it. And you need to realize that, you know, you're in a category, a very small category. So if it's too hard for you, that's too bad. You signed up for it. So you're gonna,
Yeah.
So I almost had to like find to get through it and finish it.
Did you ever lean into like any ritual connected to mindset techniques? Because we see, obviously that's why people come to us, but like breathing or visualization or anything specific?
Yeah, I didn't get into that until early in my NBA career.
Okay.
Because I don't want to say it came easy, but you know, when you're in college and you're better, but when I first got to the NBA, it was a struggle. My first year I didn't play. My second year I was scratching and clawing in like the farm league, G League team.
Mm-hmm.
And the next year I was like, okay, now I'm getting my opportunity. And I had a teammate, Ricky Rubio, who has been a huge advocate for, you know, mental health. And, you know, obviously I was struggling, and he was like, what are you struggling about? Like, what's like, look at what we have. Look how great this is. And I was like, you know, I'm not shooting it well. I'm not doing this. He was like, you know what I do before every game? He was like, I lay down in my bed. I put my headphones on and listen to meditation music. And I imagine myself scoring 50 points every game. And I'm like, so how does that help? He was like, because then when I show up to the game, I already think that I've scored 50 points. And that's really where I became into the visualization part. Like, your mind is such a strong tool. If you're envisioning yourself not doing it, you're more than likely not going to do it. Bring the story down a little bit. So every nap before games, I lay in my bed and play, or if it's a hotel bed or my own bed, and listen to meditation music for 30 minutes. And I just envision myself scoring, shooting, or what did I really want to be intentional about? And sometimes, you know, I go out there and have a great game, and other times, you know, I don't, but that's life. And the next game I'm going to do the same exact thing, because I think having a routine with that stuff, I know you talked about like breathing. I never have really gotten into that aspect, but the visualization part is a huge part of my preparation.
I would say every athlete we work with, like, there's something that works and something that they don't, you know, lean into, you know, exactly what you would say. You know, sometimes breathing works, right? Owen, maybe you can speak to that.
Yeah, I was shocked because we've had probably like 20 professional high-level athletes, and the amount of athletes that like didn't really tap into the visualization or the breath work kind of surprised me. Like, I know, you know, the talent can get you so far, but it gets to a point where everyone's good, you know what I mean? And you got to create an edge somehow. And then the elite athletes, they know, like, you know, you got to create the mental edge somehow. So it's just been cool to hear different people's perspectives. But another thing that we work a lot with our clients is how do you mentally defeat your opponents? So we try to emphasize, you know, when you see the other team, someone has their head down, like, it's go time, like pounce on them. Do you have any tactics where you're like, I'm going after this guy? Like, how do you mentally defeat your opponents?
Yeah, I mean, I would say trash talking is definitely mine. Like, I want to make this like my whole, and maybe I subconsciously do this, but now that I'm out of the arena and I'm thinking about what my mentality is, like, I will go to an extreme level to try and make the situation out on the field or court like extremely uncomfortable for you, where you almost think that like quitting it would be more comfortable than continuing to proceed through this torture, whether that's telling you about yourself, telling you about how your teammates feel about you. Like, and the problem is sometimes I get into like such a crazy space. Like, listen, there's 16,000 people, like, it's loud. I'm just playing off emotion, and I say stuff, and then after the game, guys will be like, yo, did you really mean that? I'm like, dude, I don't even remember telling you that. Like, that's how, just in a headspace. But I feel like you're right. Skill only gets you so far, but the competitive edge is like, how competitive are you willing to be? Like, Tom Brady had a saying where, you know, I grew up a big Patriots fan, where he was like, I'm giving up my whole life to be good at what I am, whether it's diet, sleep, you know, watching film. So his mental edge is, he's like looking at you and being like, I hope you did too, because I know I'm prepared for this moment. And that's kind of like how I think about it. Like, I've put in the hours, I've put in the preparation, and now I'm just going to go out there and try to make this experience for you like one of the least favorite you've ever had. And with that, like, if I can get you to quit, that means I get to, you know, take this space and win. If I don't get you to quit, then my competitive juices need to come in, and that's when, you know, athletes really take off, because an athlete that makes it to this level, you have to have like insane compete level. Like killed guys that don't make it because the compete level isn't there. Like guys that are out there compete at a high level. And I think that's just kind of the edge that has allowed me to play this long, is like, I love competing. Like I get a natural high off being like, I'm going to beat you, and there's nothing else you can do about it.
A go-to shit talking line, and or is there anyone else? Who else in the league is like one of the best?
Oh, and I don't know if I can pull out all my lines on the
yeah, you can.
But, no, I feel like Joe Ingles, I mentioned him earlier, was huge as a trash talker for me. I mean, if you looked up film on him, he's tortured guys, just because for him it's part of the game. For other people, they take trash talk as like it's personal. And once you see that, once someone opens up to you and that it's personal and that they can't just leave it in the game, you're like, okay, I know I've won now, because I can go to any extreme lengths with personal stuff, because all of our stuff is out there. There's no secrets. So if you're gonna allow that to really bother you, then, you know, guys can really hit you where it hurts. So I learned quickly to just close that part off. Like laughing at something disrespectful that someone says to you is better than trying to cover it up. But yeah, I would say Joe Ingles was kind of like my mentor in that angle.
Well, Owen isn't going to out himself, but I will, as his mom. He would cut so below the belt. I would. You were so bad.
Where it hurts. I sometimes.
I would supported it as long as I didn't have to hear from the other parents when you played. But it was like an alter ego. And what you described earlier of like, you don't even remember. I do think that ability to fully be in the moment is what separates you two, right? You're just like, this is me on the court and that's it, you know, and I'm off the court. Because he's like everyone loves Owen. He's the nicest kid. But on the court, I'm like, you're a dick. You're kind of a dick.
You have to be.
I was a Division III basketball player for a year, so just to clarify. But yeah, it did
dunk, and you're only 5'9".
Yeah, I can.
Hey, college sports is college sports, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely. But I think this would be a good time.
Yeah, do it. Roll it.
A new section. We call it No Huddle. I'm just gonna grill you with like one or the other answers. So, all right, dogs or cats?
Dogs for sure.
Coffee or energy drinks?
Ooh. Coffee.
Iced or hot?
Iced.
Okay. Club or bar?
I've turned into a bar guy. I used to be a club guy.
All right. Minivan or Ferrari?
True to the minivan.
Chocolate or candy?
Chocolate.
Go out or stay in?
Turned into a stay-in guy. I loved going out, but you know, I'm off the boozy treats, so I'm a stay-in guy.
Text or call?
Text. So some people I don't need to hear their voice.
Trash talk or silent killer?
Trash talk.
LeBron or Jordan?
Oh.
You don't need to get deep into it. You get one skip. You get one skip, so you can skip.
No, I'll answer Jordan.
All right. Hawkeyes or Cyclones?
Oh, this is you have stupid questions.
I am at the University of Iowa right now. So
Are you really?
Yeah, he's an Iowa boy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had TJ on the podcast. Iowa State head coach. He was an assistant coach when George was playing. Super intense dude, but sneaky funny. Like that's the vibe that I got, was like this guy could run a military boot camp. But what was the vibe when you were playing there? Like, is he different now? Like, you know,
completely different. I would just say, I mean, like, you know, in anything, right? Like on a team or in work, you know, people have different roles, right? And I think to be successful, everyone has to fit a different role. Like there's no cookie cutter way of what role that needs to fit. It's just like, you understand that this person gets this done, this person does this. And when I was getting recruited by TJ, he was like a cool assistant coach, like came up to New Hampshire to see me. We'd shoot the breeze about anything, girls, school, whatever. He was a young assistant coach that was lively, had energy. You know, Fred Hoiberg was the head coach, who was, you know, kind of the NBA guy, you know, I don't want to say silent assassin, but just like kind of was mellow, really low key. And TJ kind of like kept all the knuckleheads, us players, like in a row, make sure we were all feeling good, knew how to get talent, knew how to get players. So as an assistant coach, me and him had a super close relationship, and we still have, and I think that's kind of fostered over the years. And now that he's a head coach, and I see like how intense he is and how players react towards his reactions, it makes me realize like there was a point in time in TJ's career where he was probably looked at everything that he does in his life, from when he wakes up to when he sleeps, to like, how can I be intentional about everything that I do that is going to be focused towards my goals? Like everything that he wakes up and does to make sure that he is the best him for his kids, for his players, for the university as he can be. And sure, like maybe like 10 or 20 days out of the whole year, he'll like let loose on his golf course behind his house and like have a blast, and like he'll like mark out those days. But until then, he is demanding that of himself, so he does not feel any type of way of demanding it anyone around him. Like every time I go back to Iowa State, it's like I have to get in the gym at 6 a.m. because they're practicing, and then he's rolling in and lifting while I'm listening to crazy rock music. And it's just like he's so intentional about his life and his dreams and aspirations and what he wants for the people out of him, that he's almost gonna, I hate to use the word bully you, but bully you into the same, regimen. So that you can maximize your time. Like he has no time for people that want to make excuses and that are going to be lazy or play the woe is me. And that's what I respect most about him, and why I've, continued to keep him close to me, because you want to have people out there that can tell you the truth and be honest with you. But as you know, like I've known him as the funny guy also. So we also share that relationship too.
Yeah, that was his excuse for the super tight polos, was he's super regimen, and it's just like less thought process throughout the day.
Yeah, he doesn't care. He's just
doesn't care.
How can I win basketball games? How can I get my guys to play hard?
Yes, I love it. He said your golf game is soft though.
He did say that.
Yeah, of course he would say that, but he's not any better. Like, I watch him snap clubs because he can't.
Yeah, see, now here comes the more fun, Like stop with the kindness. Stop with the kindness.
But seriously,
he sucks at golf. So you I said it.
How is your game? Like if you go out, like no bullshit. Like,
I would probably say my handicap's like a 16. So I'm shooting like 90s, 8. Like I've never hit in the 80s. I've gotten real close, and maybe I've done used the George club where it's like close and I like kick it over.
Oh, yeah. To give me. Yeah.
Couple mulligans. It depends how you play. Like we don't need to play PGA rules out there. We're at a country club.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Speaking of, different topic. So I saw, again, I'm doing my homework, a video of you shotgunning a beer with Luke Combs. Come to find out it wasn't a beer. What's up with that?
Who told you that?
I can't,
we have our sources.
Tell anyone, but
we have our sources.
do people know? Do people like?
Did we just out you?
You guys probably just did out me. I probably lost credibility. So I'm gonna phone Kylie in here, and I'm gonna
get her to cut it.
But this is probably the Hawkeye side of you that
it is. Look at that.
Bashing me like this.
I mean, I'm a Badger fan, so
I guess the Big Ten. You guys can live in your little league of your own over there. But
I did, just so you know, I had Iowa State going all the way this year.
Oh, I did too.
I did.
Yeah, I did. I was pulling for them, but I mean, how about the Hawkeyes? They got to give them credit there. They were like, no one. I didn't think they were going to make the tournament.
Do you think that I would ever, in my mind, ever give the Hawkeyes credit? Like,
no.
I mean, sure, they had a great season, but I could care less. I wanted Nebraska to drag them through the mud.
Yeah, well, what you wanted didn't happen, George.
Yeah, back to the Luke Combs thing. That was awesome. I had a lot of fun, and shotgun and beers. It's not for everybody.
But you know what? Perception is reality. Right? You know what? That's a performance. So like I don't know. That's a mind ninja move. I respect it.
Kate, let me tell you, when I walked out there and I saw 80,000 people, I was like, oh shit. Like, what did I just, and I was so taken back. And he's like walking across the stage and is like pointing people out that he wants to like have in the crowd shotgun. And I'm just standing there and he's like, what are you doing? Like, come on. And I'm like,
No.
I'm surprised I didn't just drop my beverage at that time. So it's super cool. I mean, I think the greatest part about, being an athlete is, how much time and effort it took to get to where you're at. And then to meet people in other fields, whether if it's sports, musicians, like actors, and to see how successful they are. You don't know what their daily journey is, but at the extent of grit and grind that it took to get there. So it's almost like a respect type of thing.
Yeah.
And not to say that I'm even on close to Luke Combs's level. That's like LeBron, Luke Combs. They'd be closer, but just to see how he works, how intense he is, and what he has to do to put on a show, it's just like you have nothing but respect because you know what that looks like on your side. And for him to do that on a night in, night out basis is impressive.
Yeah, that is. I mean, speaking of, what people don't know, what are some of the misconceptions of someone in your, position and what you do? Because, young people, they all want to be you, right? That are basketball players. So this is a mental toughness and the part of the story I'm curious about this year that you alluded to. But what are some of the challenges that you think people don't know about?
Yeah. I mean, there's just so many challenges day in and day out. And the one thing I try and base it off of, especially off my journey, is, I alluded back to saying, if it was easy, everybody would do it. And that's kind of like the one thing that I can like look back on and be like, okay, that's what helped me through it. But another thing was, I've always looked at my journey as like, this is a part of my journey, whether if it's, trials and tribulations or success, or, I earned this success, or I failed because I wasn't ready to be humble enough to accept the success. And where do I go back and the drawing board? But a lot of people are like, oh, your life is so awesome. Like, you must be so lucky that your life is so awesome. And I just want to stop them and be like, my life is torture. Like, you only get to see the fun part. Like, you don't see that, like, I have to wake up at 6 a.m. and like get treatment. Then I have to go lift. Then I have to, get a massage, which sounds like it's like luxurious, but like when someone's putting their elbow in your calf, and you're like, it's not one of those where I'm asleep while I'm getting massage. Like, I'm like twisting and turning, and then you have to go, work out on the core. And that's that's 5 days a week. And, like, I've sacrificed a lot of my, real life so that I could be really good in my professional life. And then sometimes you just, I don't want to say you want to be left alone, but you don't really have privacy either. Like, everybody knows what you make. Everybody knows what you do. You're not really normal anymore, but you worked that hard to be normal. So I think the misconception is people are like, oh, like, how lucky are you to have this? And I want to be like, this wasn't luck. Like, some people it may be luck, but I sacrificed a lot of my life in my 32 years of living. Like, I didn't do family vacations when I was in high school. I was playing AAU basketball. In college, I never was home for Thanksgiving, Christmas, the summers I was doing summer school. So I sacrificed all that time and effort so that I could achieve my dreams. And now that I'm here, don't worry, we're properly compensated for all the sacrifice that we put in.
Yeah.
But at the same time, people have to realize, like, if they put the same amount of time into bettering themselves and what they wanted, and not just being like, oh, you're so lucky, I feel like they could be doing the same thing that, I was doing.
For sure. There's mental suffering in it. And I think that should be talked about, so that people have more, I guess, empathy or understanding. We always ask every athlete about it, and I'm always curious their response.
Yeah. Another question to put you on the spot here. How would you define mental toughness if you had to put a finger on it?
Yeah. I mean, I would just say, if I'm drawing a picture of it, if you were to tell me your goals, and I would be like, okay, well, go stand in that corner and, sorry, this is graphic, but I'm going to be like, go over that corner and eat shit. And I'll tell you when you're, getting closer to your goals. After 6, you're in the corner of eating shit. You're like, I don't want to eat shit anymore. Like, my goals really don't matter. Like, I don't, like, I'm done eating shit. This is uncomfortable. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Where, that's like, how bad do you want these goals? You say you want it. Like, you say, like, this is what I want, but what are you willing to give up to get those goals? Because there's some people over there that be like, I love it. Give me more. I'm going to keep eating it. I'm going to fail, and I love it. Like, because I know that I'm going to make sure that I get to my goals. Where other people are like, did someone tell you to say that this should be your goal? or is this really what you want? Because that's how like
Yes.
mental toughness is like that's the grit aspect. So replace eating shit with grit. Like you get benched. Are you going to complain and say this isn't for me? I need to go somewhere else, or are you going to rise up to the occasion and be like, you know what? I'm going to double down on the work. I'm going to get better sleep. I'm going to eat better. I'm going to talk to a therapist. I'm going to envision. Because at this point in my life, like the skill set, everybody has skill in the NBA. Now, who's going to get the most sleep? Who's going to take care of their body? Who's going to be available? Who's going to do the small things, like the 1% things, like drink more water, be hydrated, like drink alcohol? Who's going to do that so that over the course of 82 games in an NBA season, doing this rather than.
Do you think part of your strength, George, is that you metric the role consistently and pivot when you need to throughout like your career? That, you know, because your role has changed, right, from being in Iowa State. You know,
no. Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, I was allowed so many mistakes as I was in college, right? Because I was so talented and I kind of could get away with, you know, doing whatever. Whereas now I'll never forget, you know, Kevin Pritchard, he's the president of operations in Indiana for the Pacers who drafted me.
Yeah.
And his first time talking to me, he was like, isn't it awesome being in the NBA? Like you have practice and then you have, you know, the no school, like you have the rest of the day to like work on yourself. And in my head, as a 23-year-old, I was like, work on myself. Like I'm going to go have lunch, like drink, like do whatever. And now that I got older, it really resonates with me because like having a routine is really what saved my career. My rookie year, I couldn't even do what was happening because it was almost like I was on like the Autobahn. And for people who don't know what the Autobahn is, it's the fastest highway in Germany. And I was going 140 miles an hour. And like, if I were to look, like I'd swerve, you know, I just didn't know what was happening. And then when I got cut and I was like, oh my God, did I just ruin the only opportunity that I'm going to have to live out a dream that I've worked my whole life for? And that's when I started being like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to wake up every day and I know that I need to lift. So lifting is at 8:00, whether if I have practice or you just find time to put it. And then I'm going to shoot before practice. And then when I practice, I'm going to shoot after practice. And then when I go home, I'm going to eat these specific things and I'm going to recover doing the ice bath every day. And just make sure that it's mandatory. Your routine is like, I'm doing this, whether if it's you feel good, you don't feel good, it's raining, it's sleeting, it's snowing. And just the consistency over time creates 1% better and you're getting successful. I feel like the routine is the one thing that saved me because you're going to have the highs and the lows. You're going to have days where you're like, is this for me? Should I quit? Like I've had plenty of them. Is this my journey? Am I in the right place that I'm supposed to be? But I promise you, if you just stick to that routine, you will get to a point where you will lift your head up and be like, wow, look how far I've come. This is amazing. Like I never thought that I was going to get here, but you will literally like cry, like real tears because you know how much pain that you felt in these down moments. And when you get that moment of triumph, you're like, I never thought I was going to get here, but I just kept my head down and did these things and I'm here. And I'm ready to accept what's next.
Absolutely.
That's cool.
That is cool. I know how valuable your time is, so I don't want to ask too many more questions, but I just want to dive back one more time to kind of more of the mindset stuff as a pro athlete. One of the things that we talk to our clients about the most is the self-talk. How is your self-talk? You know, you go 0 for 10 one night. Hopefully that never happened, but you know, what's the self-talk? Are you pretty like harsh on yourself or like how, tell me about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think if I'm struggling, I can be sarcastic in a way that kind of like deflects the attention off of, you know, when someone's sucking and you're like, you're walking to the bench and everyone's looking at him like, what is he about to do? And I'll just be like, God, I suck, you know, or, you know, just something like that, just to kind of like let them know, like, I'm good. I'm not going to like chuck a water bottle, but you know, I know that you guys see me sucking. So like we can,
we see it. We see each other. Yeah.
But there's also a line that like I wear out and it's like, I'm a fucking beast. Like that is like, you know, and I just think that's how you have to look at it. Like,
that's what we tell our athletes. Like,
I'm a beast.
Tell them, you got to replace the I suck with something else because you want to get to flow state, and telling yourself you suck isn't going to get you there. So
Yeah.
tell yourself you're a fucking beast from George's.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think it's just something that it's simple. Like I like to keep things simple, and it's something that you can just say, and it like, hey, I know I've put the work in to be here, so I already know I'm a beast. So whatever's going to happen is going to happen, and it may not be great today, but it'll be better tomorrow. And if it's not better tomorrow, the next day will be even better.
Hell yeah.
That's the mantra. We have a mantra listed too, so we'll add them. A fucking beast.
Hey.
I don't see why not.
Trademark it. It's free for the taking.
There we go. There we go.
Owen has an apparel line.
I'll get you. It's actually been pretty cool. I don't know.
Really? What is it?
It's actually funny how it started. So basically, we had this podcast, had some cool names, none like massive names to start, but we thought it'd be cool to send out like a hoodie as a thank you.
Yeah.
Well, you and Max played against each
other. I played
other.
Against Max in high school. He's a great kid, like literally the greatest. But we sent it to him as a thank you, and he was wearing it like in the whatever the pregame walkthrough, and like the Lakers were posting. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like maybe I should put a little more effort into this. So whatever, we created 2 T-shirts and a hoodie, so I'll send it out to you.
But it's all mindset driven, right? So it's like mantras, like find a way. The mental side is everything. I was asking you earlier about young people today. And I think the good thing is that there's more attention to the need to be in the moment. And there's so much, I don't know, there's more crashing out that I'm seeing. That's right. There's like a lot less tolerance, which I think is what you're speaking to, like tolerance to be uncomfortable. And we've created that. The whole system has created that. So with that, there's now more mindset techniques that I think are, hopefully helping athletes navigate these high, like to get to the next level. So as Owen's looking, I want to ask you, now that you call yourself old, which I don't know what that makes me, in the NBA, are you using your veteran-ish vibe to kind of help the younger kids coming in? Or do you just bully them, George?
I think every young guy needs to be, I would say, humbled or bullied, but it doesn't need to be like a constant thing. So I kind of lean into the vet role because I know how many people helped me get to this point, and I know if I didn't have them, like I would really struggle. Like a journey by yourself is not a journey that I think anybody wants to be on. So it took a village for me to get here, and if I didn't have enough time to name all the veterans that helped me, whether if it was when I was a rookie, Rodney Stuckey would, hey, I'm having haircut night. Come over here and get your haircut for free.
That's awesome, really.
Or if it's like, hey, team dinner, where guys on the team are like, hey, like you're a rookie, like you're mandatory, you're coming to team dinner, but they also were making me go get them soap or candy bars in the middle of the night. So that's just kind of the way to humble young guys. But I think, if I could be a teacher and help them along their way and help them achieve their goals, I think it almost gives me more gratitude at this point in my career than, my success. Because listen, if someone would have told me when I was 18 years old to sign up for the journey that I've been on and have the career that I've had and made the money that I've made, and that's just the bonus of it, I would have been like, where do I sign? Like I would do this anywhere. So to see other people like cross off their goals on their list, like that's like
pretty special.
Yeah, it's an awesome feeling. It's an awesome feeling. Like Jeff Van Gundy one time came to talk to us in college, and he was talking about Yao Ming. I don't know if anybody remembers Yao Ming, but he was like the 6-foot Chinese center that came over from China. He was like the first one. And they were asking like, how do you not have bad days? He was like, how can I have a bad day when I'm genuinely happy for other people? Not all of us can have a bad day in the same day. And I kind of like stuck with me because at that point I was a 19-year-old kid, like just like F everybody. Like I want to be the best I can be. Like, I don't care if you're not happy, that's too bad. Like I'm just on me. And it made me realize like, if you can just genuinely be happy for other people, like it all evolves and we're playing the long game here. And
that's it right there. That's the mental toughness there, the long game. And you've given our listeners such great things. You have an amazing reputation that I can see why. And
it's been by far my favorite podcast, so I really appreciate it.
Oh, and are you just saying that?
No, I mean that.
He's like,
I
in
mean
here,
that.
buy my gear. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Other
exactly.
than that, you're not-
Here's the QR code. Take a picture of this.
Oh no,
That's so funny.
I'm
Okay.
serious though. It's been a pleasure. I truly mean that. It's like not always does someone have the best mindset answers and also fun to talk to at the same time. So I
So
do really
true.
appreciate you carving out some time to do this for us.
Yeah, no, I mean, I am a believer in this. You know, I think this stuff is so important because, you know, there's talented people out there that lack mindset.
Yeah.
Yes.
Crazy. We only have a finite amount of time on this earth. And if you have the talent, but don't have the mindset, it's almost like you're leaving the glass half full. Like, and you look at the elites of the elites, like they have the mindset and the talent, and that's why they're recognized forever. That's why they're the Michael Jordans, the LeBrons, the Bryce Harpers, all those guys. Their mentality is sickening, and I'm almost like, how do I get myself in that headspace? And some of these guys, they naturally have it, and you know, other people, it's something that you need to work at.
Yeah.
I think people don't understand, like a slap shot or a jump shot, like you work on that, like you need to work on torturing your brain, like, which is why in like summer workouts, like I want to tell my trainer, I want to be tortured. I want to look at you and like have like fear in my eyes because I want to know in my head that when I get out there, I worked so hard and did above and beyond in the summer so that when I'm running up and down the court with someone, it's not like this is easy compared to what I was doing for training. But yeah,
you gave us another line. So we'll end with that. The torturing of the brain, being mental toughness. I love it. Torturing of the brain. No one's ever said that, right?
Yeah.
That's good.
No,
So join us next time on Next Play for another guest and more insights around the mental side of the game. If you want to learn more about Pure Sports Mindset, check us out at our socials at Pure Sports Mindset or on our website for some coaches like Owen at www.puresportsmindset.com.